In this video, I'm going to be going over exactly how much dividend income I made in the month of March from a $60,000 account. To analyze this, we're going to be jumping into my do-it-yourself investor toolkit. We'll be looking at my investment dashboard, my dividend calendar, and my daily dividend calendar. And like always, if you'd like to be able to download this spreadsheet, and you can head over to my Patreon page at the link in the description. So let's go ahead and zoom in and begin breaking this down. Now, the first thing we'll point out, total portfolio value at the time of this video is around $64,000. So I'm up around $900, which is a gain of about 1.45%. But you got to remember, a lot of my gains come in the form of dividends. So when you include the dividends I've received over that time period, I'm actually up around 5%. Let's go ahead and scroll down, and now you'll see my allocation chart right here. So currently I have about 76.2% allocated to stocks and a cash position of around 24%. So my cash position a little bit lower than it was a month ago, but that's because of some major moves I recently made in my portfolio, and I'll be talking about that just a little bit later. Now, the next thing you'll notice is my total holdings is sitting at 37. A couple of months ago, it was around 41, but I'm trying to reduce my total holdings to around 25 to 30 total holdings. I'm trying to focus on holding companies that are quality and will increase the amount they pay in dividends over time. So because of that, there are a few positions I've been selling out of, and I'll briefly mention these positions. The first one is White Horse Finance, and the other one is Prospect Capital Corporation. If we look at the 5-year charts for both these companies, you can see up about 5%, 5-year for White House up about 2.8%. So really kind of substandard returns over that time period. But what I really want to point out is this dividend history. If we scroll down right here, we can see over a 10-year period, there's virtually no dividend growth for White Horse. And if we look at Prospect Capital as well, jump over to dividend history, we can see almost no dividend growth once again. In fact, they've even been decreasing the amount they pay in dividends, which is something you never want to see. So obviously, these positions really don't align with my investment goals. So even though they have relatively high dividend yields of around 10 or 11%, I don't think long-term it's going to help me reach my financial goals. Now, the next chart we'll look at is my cost and market value. This is just basically a way to see how your investments have performed relative to the size of the investment. So for example, this is my Microsoft position. You can see I have a whole lot invested, and I'm up a little bit on the position right here, but I also have a chart right here showing my growth. And unfortunately, I have invested into MPW. That's been a pretty big loser so far, but overall, pretty happy with the investments I've been making over the past few months. All of them have performed pretty well. Makes me feel like I did probably buy in at a pretty good position for most of these. My best performing stock so far is SJM at the time of this video. I'm up around 30%. I also have Coca-Cola up around 26%, and I also have Starbucks up over 25%, and quite a few up around 20% as well. Now let's go ahead and start talking about my current allocation. And this is something that's changed quite a bit over the past month actually, and that's because of a new position I've added. And I talked about this in a recent video, and that was SCHD. I allocated around 10% of my dividend portfolio to SCHD. I'm a huge believer in this fund. I know it's talked about quite a bit on YouTube, but there is something really important you need to understand if you are going to invest into dividend ETFs. And so if I jump over to Seeking Alpha again, and we look at SCHD's top 10 holdings, you're going to see it's changed a little bit over the past month. You can see AbbVie makes up around 4.31% of the fund, PepsiCo around 4.24%. I don't have either of these in my dividend portfolio currently, but what I do have is Cisco, Coca-Cola, Verizon Communications, Texas Instruments, and Broadcom. Now that's really important to understand because again, I have those positions in my dividend portfolio also. So when you do buy into a dividend ETF such as SCHD, you do need to understand that you are adding exposure to companies you already have exposure to, which can be a good thing if you're a big believer in the companies, but it could also be a bad thing because you don't want to be overexposed to any industry or any individual stock. Now again, my largest holding is currently Microsoft around 14%. I have a couple of other ETFs as you can see right here. I'll probably move these positions solely into SCHD in the coming months. But another position that I added quite a bit of capital to over the past month was Realty Income Corp. It now takes up around 7% of my dividend portfolio, and I added quite a bit to Vici as well. That's now around 2.3% of my dividend portfolio. And the other position that I added to was actually MO Altria Group. It's now close to 3% of my dividend portfolio. But other than that, you can see most of my positions other than Lowe's and maybe Starbucks around 4% of my dividend portfolio, so fairly well diversified. If we scroll down here, we can see my stock allocation by industry. And again, ETFs around 26.7% of my dividend portfolio. Technology, the next largest at almost 24%. We also have real estate now around 12.6%, consumer defensive 10.12%, and consumer cyclical 7.8. Now, typically we also look at our future portfolio outlook, but we'll come back and look at that just a little bit later in this video. Let's go ahead and zoom out and look at what everyone wants to see, which is my dividend dashboard. And let's go ahead and point out this was my highest month of dividend income ever. In the month of March, I made $216.32 in dividend income. Huge milestone, again, like I just mentioned, my highest month of dividends ever, but also my first month of over $200 in dividend income. You can see my expected yearly dividend income now around $2,165, my all-time dividend income $2,276, average monthly dividends now sitting at $180 a month, and my portfolio dividend yield 3.43%. I'm trying to get it closer to 3.5%, but I did sell out of those two higher yielding positions, so that does lower it just a little bit. But moving forward, because of these companies that I'm investing in that increase the amount they pay in dividends, my portfolio dividend yield on cost will continue to increase. I'll go ahead and zoom in so we can break this charts down just a little bit more. Again, you can see my portfolio value over time growing quite a bit. You can definitely see both of these charts trending upward, which is something obviously I want to see. Now, dividend income by industry, this is really important. You want to know where your dividend income is coming from. Again, 21% of my dividend income comes from ETFs, 20% comes from financials, 17.6% from real estate, and 16% from consumer defensive. Right here, we can see my dividend yield on cost. So again, I still have a few relatively higher yielding positions. I'll have to analyze those and make sure they fit in line with my current goals, but most of them are dividend growth companies, as you can see right here. Now, the last chart we'll look at over here is my dividend income by each individual position that I own. And like I said, SCHD, my biggest move over the past month, but I'll be receiving $235 every single year from SCHD, and that will continue to increase as they increase the amount they pay in dividends. O is now my second largest dividend payment. I'll be receiving over $213 every year. MO around $150, OHI around $150 as well. And then I do have a little bit of JEPI. I've analyzed this ETF in the past. Go check out that video if you're interested in learning more, but I would be receiving around $142 from JEPI. Now let's go ahead and jump over and look at my dividend calendar. And if you're not using a dividend calendar to track your investments over time, then you're really missing out on a really important way to track your dividend income, because what it's going to allow you to do is you can see exactly what stocks are paying you dividends, when they're paying you, and you can also see those dividend increases over time. So let me go ahead and zoom in and show you an example. I've owned O for a while, and this is a company that pays dividends every month. And because I reinvest my dividends and they also increase the amount they pay in dividends, you can easily see those dividend increases over time. So back in January of 2022, I was receiving around $5.83. And now you can see I'm receiving $8.41 a month. So not a huge increase, but that is a relatively short period of time that I've seen really good increases in the amount I pay in dividends. Now, obviously I have added capital as well, but again, a really great way to see your dividend growth over time. But let's go ahead and see what stocks paid me dividends in the month of March. I received $6.39 from AB, Alliance Bernstein, $7 from IBM, $14.90 from Johnson & Johnson, $1.69 from KHC, pretty large dividend payment here from Microsoft, around $22, $8.41 from O, $3.18 from SJM, $6.14 from 3M, $3 from Walgreens. Pretty good dividend payment here, $22.89 from VFIAX. That's one of my ETFs that I own. Probably move that position into SCHD soon. Then I received $3.37 from Bank of America, $9.71 from Domino's Pizza, $6.74 from INTC. Scroll down, you can see I received $9.48 from JP Morgan, $9.79 from Target, $1.80 from Visa, $11.10 from T. Rowe Price, $13.91 from AVGO, and then if we scroll down, you can see SCHD paid me my first dividend ever, almost $55 payout. And if we jump over to my daily dividend calendar, but first I want to take 20 seconds to talk about our sponsor, Aura. One of the fastest growing crimes is identity theft, and there's a new victim every 14 seconds. I have a family member who recently had their identity stolen, and it was a nightmare. Fortunately, Aura is an identity theft, fraud monitoring, VPN, password manager, and antivirus all in one. If you sign up for a 14-day free trial at my link in the description, you can see if you or your family's information has been exposed to the dark web. You'll see this is actually my highest amount that I've ever received in a single day from dividend payments. That's solely from SCHD. And if we scroll out just a little bit, you can see my 2022 daily dividend calendar. That dividend payment actually surpasses my highest day of all of 2022. So that's pretty cool to see, but let's go ahead and zoom in. And you can see exactly what day, how much I was paid in dividends. So March 1st, pretty good day at around $11. couple decent days right here, 2 big days here on the 9th and the 10th. And if we scroll over, we can see obviously good day on the 24th. It looks like on the 27th is when I received that SCHD dividend of around $55. And then the last 2 days of the month have been really good as well. So pretty solid overall, really great month for my dividend income. But the last thing that I do want to glance at is my future portfolio projections. And you can see what I'm doing right here. I'm going to be contributing around $2,500 a month, which I know is very aggressive, but I'm really trying to make sure I can meet my investment goals. I'm assuming a price growth rate of 7%, dividend growth rate of 7%. My current portfolio size is around $63,000, $64,000. So I'll go ahead and plug that in and hit enter. And like you can see, I'm assuming a starting dividend yield of 3.5%, which I'm very close to right now. But based off that data, we can see our future portfolio outlook when we reinvest dividends and when we don't reinvest dividends over that time period. So even if I don't reinvest dividends for the next 5 years, you can see based off those assumptions, I'll be receiving around $9,333 a year in dividend income in just 5 years. But if I do reinvest dividends over that time period, it'll be around $10,466. So not a super huge difference as you can see, but as we look at some of these years later on, it makes a major difference. Let's look at the 15-year difference. If I don't reinvest dividends over that time period, I'll be receiving around $33,800. But if I do, $48,000. If we look at the 30-year difference, we're going to see a major difference. If I don't reinvest dividends, $123,000, which is still super great. Now, obviously, that's because companies will continue to increase the amount they pay in dividends. But when I do reinvest dividends, I could be receiving $265,000 a year in dividend income with a portfolio value of over $7.7 million. Now, if I don't reinvest dividends, you can see my portfolio value is almost half that at around $3.5 million. So it really goes to show you just how important that reinvesting your dividends over these time periods can be. It makes a major difference in the dividend snowball effect. So there you go. That's exactly how much dividend income I made in the month of March from a dividend portfolio of around $60,000. Like always, if you'd like to be able to download this spreadsheet, then you can head over to my Patreon page at the link in the description. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.